Good afternoon, traders and investors. Will back here with another one. What a day in the markets, guys. We started off the morning with a disaster following some retail sales numbers that came in stronger than expected. But then the market rallied back as people realized that this could actually translate into the lack of a recession narrative for next year. So a bit of a positive and negative result here. Number one, rates can stay higher because the consumer is still strong due to those spending numbers. But number two, since the consumer is strong and GDP isn't expected to drop that much, it pretty much negates the possibility for a deep recession next year. So a bit of a push and pull here, guys, on the day. So that's why we started very negative and ended the day quite positive here. A little bit of a mixed market, however, SPY ending flat, QQQ down 0.33%. But you can see financials were positive, healthcare negative, IWM actually the outperformer on the day, and the Dow Jones also slightly flat too. So a bit of a negative day here, mostly pulled down by big tech. But if I pull up the numbers here, you will see that it is a mostly mixed market. A lot of green in the markets today. However, big tech just not cooperating today. Our biggest loser, obviously, NVIDIA up here, guys. And if you see on the one-day relative performance, mixed market as well, right? You had some sectors negative, real estate, utilities, and mostly technology, right? Which is a big weight. So that definitely impacted us towards the downside. But a lot of the market was green here. And on the 1 week relative performance, it was green as well. So where do we stand, guys? Today, we are going to go over our technical analysis for our major indexes, our major tech names, big earnings week. So today, we will cover a few names very briefly that did have earnings today. So without further ado, guys, let's get right into it, yeah? So starting off with what happened this morning, guys, we got a massive dump into the morning. We were down on SPY 0.6%, and on QQQ, you will see that we were down pretty much from yesterday's trading, almost 1%, right? All the way 1.5%, as a matter of fact, from the close yesterday. It was very nasty. Why did this happen, guys? Strong retail sales, factory output points to robust US growth in third quarter. So as I've been saying, guys, right? These numbers, this is when good news is actually bad news for two reasons, and I'll explain here. So you'll see retail sales increased 0.7% in September, which is good for the consumer. Shows that we have a strong economy, right? Core retail sales rose 0.6%, August sales revised upwards, and manufacturing production increased as well, 0.4%. So all of this was good for the lack of a recession narrative into next year. But what was it bad for? Well, your yields today went on an absolute rocket ship. 10-year yield, you can see, was up 2.72%, coming back up to the highs here. The 20-year yield as well was up about 1.68% here. So your longer-term yields really got a big boost, and that is reinforcing the higher for longer narrative. So on one case, you have, well, the consumer is spending well and GDP is high, manufacturing is good, so there may not be a big recession next year. But number two, that also indicates that Jerome Powell can keep rates higher for longer, as he said, to potentially slow down this economy here and keep people from spending too much to avoid inflation coming back, right? So real push-pull scenario here for the Federal Reserve. And that's why traders went absolutely crazy on the yields today. But in my opinion, guys, we are starting to peak on yields. This will not last forever. So we had a case where yields were up massively, but the markets didn't drop too much. They dropped initially, but came right back, guys. So it's fighting between recession narrative being pretty much canceled at this point and yields staying higher for longer, right? So that is the push-pull you have in the markets today. So before we get into our technical analysis, I want to go over 4 companies that reported earnings today. Let's bring up the earnings calendar, right? So you see, we'll be going over Bank of America, Lockheed Martin, Goldman Sachs, and Johnson & Johnson. In my opinion, the most important of the bunch. Tomorrow, we have a very big day, guys. ASML, semiconductors, right? Procter & Gamble, staple name. We have another bank, Morgan Stanley. We have Abbott Labs, one of my healthcare names that I keep a close eye on. We also have Tesla and Netflix, of course. That is going to be market moving, in my opinion. And Lam Research, for those that you don't know, guys, Lam Research is also a very big and solid company. So we'll be taking a look at that. And Las Vegas Sands, finally getting some casinos and entertainment numbers out of the market here. Very big week coming up, right, guys? So we'll take this one day at a time, and we will see what the markets will give us with these earnings. Now, company number one, we will go over Goldman Sachs. So Goldman Sachs had earnings this morning. It's pretty much wrapping up the financials earnings. I'll remind you very briefly, last week we had very beautiful numbers come out by JP Morgan, Citigroup, and a few others here that showed us that although banks were not lending as much as they would like, because of high interest rates, right? People don't want to necessarily go get loans, car loans, home loans, and personal loans at high interest rates. So their net interest income is slightly down. However, they are retaining a lot more consumer money as consumers start to be more cost aware and start saving, right? So they are getting some good deposits. Deposits are not leaving the banks, and they are posting good revenues and earnings per share. So all is not bad for the banks. Goldman Sachs as well had similar results today. So they reported stronger than expected EPS, and they reported stronger than expected revenue here. You can see that although they did that, they did drop 1.6% on the day. It does look fairly good on the chart, guys. I do like Goldman Sachs in this area, right? This whole lower range down here, all the way down to 280, right? This is a big technical sell-off here, just in a big monthly consolidating range. So I haven't played it on the put options yet. In my opinion, there are a few better names, a bit better position. One of them being Charles Schwab, but nothing wrong here with Goldman Sachs per se. I like their earnings. They did have stronger than expected trading results from their bond division, notably, and also retail trading wasn't too bad with them as well. So all in all, a decent report, guys. Banks aren't positioned terribly right now. They're actually positioned quite well. So that's company number one. Company number two, another financial here, Bank of America, guys. One of Warren Buffett's favorite financial investments, one of his biggest, as a matter of fact, also reporting very decent earnings too, right? So beating on EPS by almost 9% and beating on revenue. So Bank of America, a bit in the same position as all the other banks, guys, reporting lower than expected profits and lower than expected net interest income from, as we've been saying, the lack of loans that they've been giving to the consumers. However, their deposits do remain strong. Their balance sheet does remain extremely strong as well. And you can see the market reacted positively to the news, up 2.33%. I like Bank of America in this whole sector down here, guys. They have just filled our November 2020 gap area in the past few weeks. Well, almost filled, right? But this whole area, guys, like $26, $25, in my opinion, very decent spot to be picking up some Bank of America if you do like the company. I have not played it on the options wheel yet, but it is one of my candidates for writing short puts in this lower area here. You can also see that we are coming into the end of potential monthly consolidation, getting kind of tighter. The drops are stopped. They're stopping being so big, essentially, right? You can see the legs are getting smaller and smaller here. So we will be looking for a little rebound here into the $30 range. As long as it stays down here, I may be interested to play this, guys. Very low valuation, 7 PE ratio, right? And they do deliver very solid EPS here, very solid profit margins as well. As you can see, around 19, between 15 and 20% all the time. And they do have a pretty good dividend yield. So good contender for the options wheel, in my opinion. Third company we're going to go over is Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin, defense company, right? They manufacture military equipment. So it's been no surprise that Lockheed Martin over the past 2 years have been performing quite well as the U.S. aid abroad to Ukraine and the Middle East continues, right? So they do have a lot of contracts outstanding. And you know that these companies, guys, in times of war do tend to perform quite well. So Lockheed Martin reiterated again today that they did have a lot of contracts outstanding and that they've been generating a lot of profit on the sales of their military equipment and missiles. You will see that their earnings were up and they have a double beat on revenue as well. So decent earnings as a whole. In terms of how the company is positioned, guys, LMT is a bit rich for me. I did like them when they had their dip a few weeks ago, down in the beginning of October, down to 400. But still, guys, still a tiny bit rich for me here. I know their PE ratio is slightly low here, but they are kind of tending towards the highs here, guys. Not that deep of a discount off of all-time highs, right? Only about 14%. So not a candidate for the wheel strategy for me. But Lockheed Martin, in terms of a long-term portfolio play, I mean, obviously, this stock just continues to perform as they are one of the industry leaders, them and Raytheon Technologies, right? So they should be no stranger. Decent earnings from Lockheed Martin in the defense group. And then lastly, Johnson & Johnson, guys. Johnson & Johnson, you know, is one of the healthcare plays that I've played a few times over the course of this year. They also reported very upstanding earnings, guys, up 5.71% on their EPS, and they did beat on revenue. So all these four companies had double beats today, right? So very decent earnings by them here, but they did drop 1% on the day. They were up substantially higher and then gave back pretty much 2% on the day here. In terms of the company, right? So I like them at this level, guys. This is the level that I was playing Johnson & Johnson, right? The 150 to 155 range here. I do think it represents a very good area here of long-term support. You can see why, because this whole range area right here was a big, nasty area of resistance for a long time, and now it's been acting as a good area of support for the markets too. You can see it's not obviously a one single line, it's more of a channel here. So the entire time that it remains in this lower 150 channel, it remains a play that I'm interested in playing. Didn't want to play it this week, even last week, because I knew earnings was this week, right? But moving forward, if you continue to drift lower here, I may be trying to play it in the lower 150 range here. Johnson & Johnson putting up some very solid earnings here, right? Beat on earnings, and they hiked on the outlook as medtech and pharmaceutical sales surge. So they're having a very good time. They've increased their guidance for the remaining rest of the year and for early 2024 as well. I think this company is positioned well. They're obviously an octopus. They have arms in every single division. Not only do they have consumer products, they also have a lot of drug and drug treatments, right? Very, very, very solid company for the long run, needs no introduction. And as you can see, they just continue and continuously rise here since pretty much the 1990s, right? So very good company at a decent level, in my opinion, here to be playing the options wheel. And for a long-term buy, I mean, in my opinion, guys, there are some stocks that grow more here, but this, if you are interested in this company, it's a decent technical level here to be placing a few bids for the stock. So that's pretty much it for earnings today. We'll have more tomorrow. Now let's get right into our major indexes and tech names. So what we were looking for here on SPY here, guys, today, we've been looking to set the daily higher lows and move higher, right? We almost got it today, pulling back slightly into the end of the day here. Very messy market, guys. Very volatile. The yields are not helping, and we are in earnings season. So we will see what happens tomorrow, but we want to see a break and close above this 437.50 level. We almost got it today. They kind of peaked above and then look below. So we will see, can the bulls get us our daily trend change here, or will the bears commit and reset us into a potential daily downtrend? Got to be very careful, guys. This 429.90 area, right? 430, crucial level for the bulls to defend at this point, because if we roll over, that is your daily downtrend. And at that point, we will just be setting a weekly lower high and potentially revisiting some of these lower areas here. So crucial next few days for the bulls. QQQ also having a rejection day today, right? They moved up very nicely after the sales numbers came out and then pulled back in the last few hours of the day here, right? So very, very, very nasty setup on QQQ. If I do say so myself, we are still looking for the daily higher low, rejecting nicely off of your moving averages, guys. I need to see a break and push above this trend line. If I don't see a break of this trend line, guys, it's not going to look good, right? So if we forever its reason, guys, if we continue to hover in this area, that's fine. We can accumulate here in somewhat of a daily bull flag, but eventually I will need to see the break above to convince me that the bulls are in control of this weekly chart reversal and get a weekly uptrend into the end of November, like I've been talking about on my previous videos. So watch out. Your lows are set 363.75. Crucial levels here, guys, right? If we break them tomorrow, we will just be looking to set the daily higher low continuously. They do have a lot more space on this move than SPY, right? SPY, unfortunately, set it here and now, right, is going to be the crucial area. So QQQ positioned a bit better. We will see what happens with Tesla and Netflix tomorrow. XLF Financials continuing the daily uptrend here. Love to see it. They're getting really up to where I wanted to see them, guys. 34. Why is 34 crucial? Your weekly, right? I wanted to see 34 because if they capture 34, you get your 0.618. 0.618 reversal means that it's very unlikely for the bears to flush. Can they? Yes, but probabilities wise, that's not usually what happens. Usually when they bounce this high, you can have a chance at resetting your weekly uptrend. So I like the size of the bounce on the bulls this point. As long as they keep going up, right, we will be looking for a daily higher low. Anything above 32.92 right here is just for daily higher low continuation. Want to continue to take back more and more of this weekly move here and potentially set a reversal here in financials on the weekly. Want to set up the weekly trend reversal here into the end of the year for a bullish 2024 here, right, guys? And as you guys know, I will reiterate, if for some which reason we continue this weekly downtrend into lower lows here, my sweet spot all the way down here, I will definitely be buying XLF. Now XLV Healthcare, decent little day here, right? Decent little day, but we are still consolidating here, right? So daily uptrend is confirmed. We are on the pullback right now. We did set higher high And now we need to set the higher low. Anything above 129.30 is just going to be setting a higher low for potential daily uptrend continuation here. Moving averages acting as some good support here. I need to see healthcare bulls push me up into the 133 area to really be confident. Just like XLF, I need to see more of a move, get me above these weekly moving averages, above 132 area, and then we can say, okay, healthcare may be due for a reversal here and moving on to all-time highs. Healthcare should be positioned fairly well, guys, into the next 6 to 12 months of trading here. If I do say so myself, we're still struggling in this massive 2-year range at this point, guys. So at this point, we need to see the bulls really make a march towards these higher areas and start pulling back a bit more on this weekly here and really setting up for the weekly trend change. Give us some momentum, guys, and allow this monthly chart to start breaking out higher. And now IWM, one of our best performers on the day, still stuck in this lower area here. What I need to see, even though they performed very well today, need to see a break of 177.22. Give me a break, 177.22. Daily uptrend is set. This is the only chart that has not set the daily uptrend yet. It's very unfortunate, but it's just a fact, right? So I need to see this daily uptrend set, need to see the bulls break 177. If we just hover within this range right here, that advantages the bears. The longer we chill out in this area on the weekly here, that's a weekly bear flag, could be due for some future flush. So I need the bulls to really start getting in gear here and start recapturing in a massive daily uptrend, start recapturing some of this very negative weekly move, right? Need to see us get up to 182, get me back up to the moving averages. You could set up for the weekly trend change. I'm not complaining though. If we do continue to trend lower, I will be writing some options down here below 170. I do think it's very good value down there. Dow Jones also having a very decent day, guys, continuing the daily uptrend, right? So daily uptrend is set by the bulls at this point. Anything above 33,500, let's say, is just going to be looking for a daily higher low on the pullback. It's good. We are now above all of our moving averages, even this green line, which is your 200-day moving average. So we're now above those. I like to see the bulls hold those. So let's get a little bit more of a push. If you can get me all the way to 34,400, that will look very, very decent on the weekly as well here, guys. You will be above your weekly moving averages. And at that point, the bulls have a nice shot at a weekly trend reversal. Still a weekly downtrend, still looking for the weekly lower high. How high will that high be? Needs to be as high as possible to guarantee us a potential weekly trend change here, guys. So a bit more work needed by the bulls, but good daily uptrend continuation so far. Now let's move down to our major tech names. Yeah, so let's move into Apple here. Apple recovering nicely, coming down very hot in the morning here, guys. Give me a quick second. So Apple coming down here on the day, but still just looking for your daily higher low. Very possible after such a reversal here in the morning that the bulls are looking to set the hourly uptrend, right? Haven't been able to set it this whole entire way down. And now with this engulfing move, they give themselves a nice chance to do that. Why are we looking for the hourly trend change? Because an hourly trend change will mean that your daily low is set. So I will be looking for that tomorrow, guys. We've always been looking for the daily higher low. Anything above this guy, 168, was just going to be a daily higher low for another bull move up. So I like the defense that the bulls have been playing here. Very, very good. You also have somewhat of an inverse head and shoulder setup. So very possible that the bulls might continue this, maybe even into the earnings cycle. I'd like to see Apple get back up into the 180s before earnings. We'll see if they can do it. So far, so good. I do have a position on options here at 175. Don't mind being assigned because that's what I was looking for. I was looking for the pullback for the potential continuation of the upside. Looking good. And I'll remind you on the weekly, right? We are still looking to reverse this into a weekly uptrend. So we'll see if the bulls can get it done. No red flags on Apple. The red flags start happening, guys. The lower you come into this 170, 168, you wouldn't want that to happen because then the bears would just continue the weekly downtrend flush, right? So we're looking to get this daily uptrend going here, get us more of this weekly move back, set a weekly uptrend into the rest of the year. I like Apple at these levels though. AMD, same thing as Apple, looking for the daily higher low, but the bears cut deep today. AMD was down over 3.5% before recovering a very decent amount intraday. So happy that the bulls were able to do that, but the bears have cut a significant amount into the size of this move, right? So it's very possible that bulls won't be able to just one-shot this unless we have very green days in the market. Very possible that they may need to two-step this, right? So just keep that in mind, but I like the fact that they were able to reject from here. Keep in mind, if for some which reason, guys, we continue dropping, I'll remind you, my sweet spot remains below $100. That's a heavy buy area for AMD for me. But now we're just looking for bulls to protect this daily uptrend that they've worked hard for. And we're also looking for the weekly trend reversal. So keep an eye on that, guys. The next 2 weeks, in my opinion, going to be crucial for AMD. And they do have earnings at the end of October. So hopefully that will consolidate our weekly uptrend into a move. And then your monthly will be off to the races. Crossing our fingers for it. AMD has been stuck here for a significant amount of time here. So we will see what the company can deliver in earnings. But I like the position on AMD. Amazon doing a very good job here as well of not dropping too much, recovering intraday. Amazon from top to bottom, guys, today was down pretty much like 2.72%, right? Big red day on Amazon when we started here, but we were able to close fairly decently, even though still negative here. So Amazon still looking for the same thing, looking for the daily higher low, rejecting nicely from our moving averages, guys. I like to see these closes above. Bears can't push below. So still looking for the daily uptrend continuation. Going to need to see a break of 134.39 to do that, right? Just looking for the daily higher low, daily trend change continuation. Going to be looking for this weekly move to take back as much as possible of this. Get me up to 135. Get me up to 135, and I'll be able to say, okay, Amazon's in a decent position to set up for a weekly trend change as well. Amazon earnings Thursday, 26th of October, so keep a heavy eye on that. But for now, bulls looking fairly decent. Just don't want them to come back too deep into here, guys, because then it wouldn't look good. You could give the bears an opportunity to revisit these lows down here, but that would be okay for me because I am looking to pick up some Amazon shares below 121, but looking decent now. Now let's move down to Google. Google, very decent day on Google, 0.36% to the upside. Google as well was down significantly today, top to bottom from the open, down over 1.38% and ending positive, guys. So almost a 2% reversal on Google. Very good day indeed. Just looking for daily uptrend continuation. I said it in yesterday's video. This is your daily higher low, 138. So looking to protect that, it's good. This is your higher low, moving averages acting as defense as well. You have this whole little area here, previous support, right? Previous resistance, excuse me, acting as support. So this little channel, big confluence here, guys, moving averages, previous resistance, now support. So it's normal that the bulls are putting up a fight here. So got the daily higher low. Now I need to see the bulls break 142.22, break 142.22, and we're off to our all-time high resistance area, 145, all the way pretty much to 150 here. Weekly uptrend looking very good on Google. Nothing to say. Google still remains one of our lead bulls. So congratulations to all the bulls out there. No red flags whatsoever. It just becomes dangerous at this point if the bears flush 138. Flush 138, slight little daily downtrend will be starting. At that point, you'll just be looking for a weekly higher low compared to this guy down here, 128, right? So just weekly uptrend continuation. Very healthy on Google. Now let's move on to Meta. Meta, very good recovery today. Meta, 0.89%, almost 1% to the upside. So what were we looking for? Same thing. We got the daily higher low. Now we look for the bulls continuation here. Going to need to break 330 for that continuation, rejecting nice off these moving averages. You guys see all these charts, the moving averages are doing nicely. When the bulls get back above them, they use them hard, right? So daily uptrend continues on Meta. Very healthy. We're going to be looking for that. The higher low is right here, 312.54. If for some reason we break that to the downside, it will just be an opportunity for the bulls to consolidate in a weekly higher low, right? Weekly higher low is down here at 288. So weekly uptrend will continue. That's if we, for some reason, roll over here. But if we just continue, guys, our weekly uptrend just maintains, and you're looking at your previous 52-week high, 326 resistance, and then all the way up to about 350 is the next guys, right? So beautiful chart on Meta. Google and Meta are lead bulls, so keep an eye on them, guys. If they reverse, then the rest of the market, the rest of tech may just follow suit. But as long as they're healthy, you could get some continued rallies here. Microsoft, now let's look at Microsoft here. Microsoft, not too bad of a day here, a bit of a flat day, kind of trapped in this inside range of trading for the past 5 days, right? So daily uptrend continues on Microsoft here. Just looking for the daily bull flag. You see accumulation phase right here above the moving averages. That's what you like to see. Move up and then consolidate at the high of the move. Always like to see that. So nice little daily uptrend here. Gonna need a break here of 335.75. Break me and close above. You will have daily trend continuation. And then this is your weekly lower high. So keep an eye on this, guys, right? High, low, lower high, lower low. If we start coming up here and crack 341, guys, weekly downtrend is lost by the bears. So very decent move on Microsoft. If for ever which reason we for some reason roll over here into a daily downtrend, it's okay. The bulls have created a lot of space to potentially set up for a weekly trend change into the end of the year. I'll remind you, Microsoft earnings Tuesday, October 24th. So keep an eye on that, guys. That could be a very good opportunity here to smash this 341 level. Now let's move down to NVIDIA. NVIDIA here with a pretty negative day. Not going to lie, guys, they did have some bad news. It comes from the AI chip ban, right? So there was a ban by the US government on exporting chips to NVIDIA. On last earnings call, the CFO said that it wouldn't affect them that much. But today, once again, they got trapped in the headline here and unfortunately dropped. They were down a heck of a lot more, guys. They were down from yesterday's close pretty much. Look at this, guys. Over almost 8%, right? And they did recover, closing down about 4.68%, but big drop for NVIDIA. Unfortunately, NVIDIA here losing your higher lows down here at 433, right? So daily uptrend was healthy. We were looking for the pullback for continuation, got trapped in the headlines and lost it here. So bulls will now have to two-step this potentially, because now it's kind of a long way to V-shape this. I know it's NVIDIA, anything's possible, but the bull scenario could just be tightening range and then blow to the upside. But if for any which reason we set a lower high and daily downtrend here, well, you're just looking for your weekly pullback here. The bulls have created a decent amount of space here, guys, but I don't want to see us get too close to this 400 level. Every time we get down there, guys, I get nervous that NVIDIA could potentially smash through, set a weekly downtrend, which they haven't done all year pretty much. And I mean like in 1 year, not just year to date, since October 22, right? So that's a long time, guys, long time that they've been in this kind of monthly upswing. I'd like to see them consolidate in this higher level here if they are to consolidate and then potentially move higher here. So negative day on NVIDIA. The key level for me remains this 405 level. So we'll see how well can the bulls potentially save this. Lose too much of it, guys, you could set up the daily downtrend and then we will be looking to this massive level. So keep an eye on that on NVIDIA. No earnings here until late November. Now, Tesla kind of hesitating between our range here. Tesla closing around 0.37% to the upside. Earnings tomorrow. Can't say too much about the technical analysis, guys. Earnings are tomorrow. It can go either way. Yesterday's video, I was saying good earnings, good EPS and margins, going to put us closer to this level. Bad earnings will put us closer to this level. Why do they matter? They are your weekly levels. Tightening range. If we break to the upside here, weekly uptrend. If we break to the downside, weekly downtrend, back into my sweet spot. So keep a very close eye on those two levels, 235 and 280. Going to be absolutely crucial for Tesla. If we come back into this area, I will be buying. If we're going into this area, I'll be selling covered calls, right? So it's just the way it goes. Keep an eye on that for Tesla. Bulls holding up well. This is exactly what I wanted to happen in for Tesla here. I wanted us to stay relatively in the middle between these two areas. That's exactly what bulls are will be doing here. So we'll see how we trade tomorrow, guys. I will maybe be writing some options here in the lower 220s tomorrow, just to position myself profit from volatility. Unsure yet though, so keep an eye on that. Now be very careful if you place Tesla earnings as well. Palantir with an amazing day, 2.76%. Got our daily higher low here. So now we're looking at this area, 1668, right? So 1668 is the area to watch. If we come back below this, daily downtrend is set by the bears. You will just have a weekly pullback after 4 weeks of rise. It's a weekly uptrend. You'd just be looking for your weekly higher low for further continuation. But if the bulls just continue this daily uptrend, then we march further and further to our 52-week highs, 1920. Palantir earnings are also coming up here at beginning of November, and they should be pretty good. A lot of institutions piling into this one before in the potential news that they may be included to the S&P 500. 2 more quarters of positive earnings and positive net income would do that for them. So keep an eye. If Palantir smashes 1851, daily uptrend continues. Weekly uptrend remains extremely healthy, and your 52-week highs become the next area of contention. Now, lastly, PayPal. I laugh every time, guys, because PayPal literally is doing like nothing, right? It's been trapped in here for a better part of the last month at this point, right? So nothing to do on PayPal. Had a nice little update today, but we are still struggling. Get me back above $60. Give me a nice daily uptrend, and then I'll be more interested in PayPal. PayPal just hugging the lower levels now. If we do drop below here, daily downtrend will just continue at that point. I will be writing options below 55 As low as I can get them is as low as I'll be writing them, right? Gonna bring my average cost down. But I like PayPal on this level, just nothing much to say because it's just not doing anything, right? Just not doing anything. Bears are in control, so bulls need to prove it to us. So that's pretty much it that I had for today's video, guys. If you like the video, consider liking the video, of course. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. We'd love to have you to the channel. I appreciate all of your guys' engagement. You guys have been amazing. 400 subscribers on the channel now, guys. I'm really excited. Thank you for all of it. And as always, if you have any questions, options, macro, stocks, leave them down in the comments and I'll get to you. I'll talk to you tomorrow after the close. Peace.